Hey, it's Luke here and welcome back to the Transcending Thought Channel podcast, where I'm combining psychology with spirituality in these videos to help you to heal and manifest a better life. In this video, I'm going to go very in-depth into probably the most popular thing that I often talk about, which is ending the illusion of time for lasting spiritual transformation. This is the most important thing you could know in regards to your spiritual journey, whether it's brand new to you, the idea of spirituality, or it's something that you've been on the path to for a while. I'm going to show you the one thing you need to know for lasting transformation and finding true peace. So probably the most important distinction you need to make in terms of spiritual knowledge and spiritual growth is knowing about versus knowing. So there is a difference between knowing about presence, knowing about the spiritual dimension, knowing about spiritual teachings, and then knowing presence, knowing spirituality, knowing the spiritual dimension directly. Very different. One is knowledge, conceptual understanding, which will only ever take you so far. And then the other is experiential. So knowing about means consuming lots of knowledge, lots of intellect, reading lots of books, watching lots of videos, taking lots of courses, trying to add so much knowledge into your brain about the spiritual dimension, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's really good, but it will only take you so far. To truly know presence means to be in spirit directly, to know the spiritual dimension directly, and that arises in the most experiential way. That will arise from ending the illusion of time. So what that means is simply realizing that there is, to you, no past and no future. That there is no past. Where is it? Look around. Can you see it anywhere? Can you touch it? Can you taste it? Can you smell it? Does the past truly exist to you right now? Can you see it anywhere? Does it exist? What about the future? Does it truly exist, this future, that probably consumes a large portion of your attention, that you're trying to consistently try and get to? You don't want to be here, you want to be over there. If I can just go over there, then I'll be happy. Or perhaps there's a negative thing in your future that you're worried about. It's causing you lots of anxiety now. Does that future actually exist right now? Where is it? Become more conscious to your present moment right now. Could you perhaps realize that right now, in this moment, nothing else exists? You never experience the past moment, you experience the now. You will never experience a future moment. You will only ever experience the one timeless now. Your life consistently only unfolds in the one timeless now. The answer to enlightenment and the answer to spiritual transformation, the answer to knowing spiritual transformation instead of knowing about it, comes from removing the concept of time from your psyche, seeing the delusion of time. It doesn't exist, not really, not in the way we think about it at least. There is one moment, this one, and you never leave it. So most people have always viewed time as if the future is stretched out in front of you, the past is stretched out behind you, and as if you're the one moving through it, away from this moment, going towards the future. That's how most people often view time. But it's wrong. And it's that which keeps you trapped in the third dimension, I would describe it as. You get trapped in the dimension of form, keeps you trapped in illusion, trapped in ego. What we are talking about here is transcending dimensions to the fifth dimension of the timeless one now. So rather than seeing yourself moving through time as if there's a future over there that you're trying to get to, the point that I often give people is to see that you are not moving through time because you will never arrive at the future. You never experience a future moment, have you noticed? You will never arrive at the future. You are only ever in the present moment. And I would say time moves through you. The future makes its way towards you. And that is something you can experience right now by realizing that you're not actually ever experiencing future, right? You've never arrived at some future moment. You've never got there and said, oh, I'm in the future now. You've always been in the present, and you will only ever be in the present. That realization will free you from the third dimensional way of viewing time into the fifth dimensional way of viewing the world, the universe. You literally transcend, you awaken, you become more conscious. You enter a higher dimension, the fifth dimension. You have transcended time and entered the timeless now. You don't even need to understand what I'm saying here. You don't need to think about it. That's the beauty of spiritual realization, is that it's accessible to all, regardless of intellect. You don't need to go and study for 4 years at university to understand any of this. You realize it right here and right now through simply being as present as you can be and realizing the truth of what I'm saying, which is that you'll never arrive at a future. Future does not hold your salvation. The now is where your salvation lies. The now is where you feel your spiritual essence. The now is where you feel your true self. It is in the now where you become liberated. It can't happen tomorrow, because tomorrow doesn't exist. It's only this moment, the one moment, the now. So spiritual liberation perhaps simply means removing time from your psyche, stripping it away, giving it no attention. And it's ultimately a form of sacrifice. You're sacrificing your false identity, which is often made up of time. The ego is made up of time. Your past, things that you went through. The future, the things that you want to go through or perhaps are dreading going through. What's left of you when you remove the past from your psyche? Perhaps just pretending right now that you've just arrived on this planet for the first ever time. You've just appeared here. There's no past. There's just this moment. And perhaps pretending that there's no future for you. Removing it from your psyche for a moment. How does that feel? To drop all of your goals, to drop all of your wants and desires and things you're trying to achieve and things you're trying to get to. How does it feel to remove all of those from your psyche? There may be a bit of resistance there. It can be a little bit scary to the ego, but liberating to you. So stop trying to know about presence. Stop trying to know about the spiritual dimension. Stop trying to know about God. Perhaps one of my favorite ever spiritual teachings comes from the Buddha, and it's perhaps one of the last things he taught. And it was when he was asked the question, is there a God? So he'd spent a whole long time, teaching spiritual teachings and how to end suffering and all of this stuff. And someone piped up and said, when he'd finished, he said, but you haven't said anything about God. Is there a God? And the scriptures say that the Buddha kept noble silence to that question. And the reason why he didn't answer it is because he didn't deem it something that needed to be talked about on the level of the intellectual mind. The Buddha's teachings are very practical. In essence, it's not philosophical. He doesn't sit and say, really, the way that I see it at least, about things. He doesn't talk about God. He doesn't talk about these things. His main focus is showing you how to live the enlightened state, how to be present, how to end suffering. That was his teachings. So rather than getting lost in the intellect of all of these thoughts and questions, I would guide you to no longer ask questions, or at least make that a part of your practice. To give up trying to understand, to give up trying to intellectually understand and know about the spiritual dimension. The spiritual dimension reveals to you as the silent mind, as the still no mind, and no thought and intellect can take you there. You have to let go of thought and let go of intellect, and that is when the spiritual dimension is felt as the peaceful, silent no mind, the no thought state, consciousness without thought. So, as your thinking mind is made up of time, it's all synonymous here. When you remove time from your psyche, you're also removing thought from your psyche. How do you stop thinking? You don't stop thinking, you simply give your attention more acutely to the present moment, and thinking subsides. End the delusion of time. See that there's no time apart from this moment. That's what's precious. This moment. Regardless of what your mind has to say about it. Drop any sense of meaning, any sense of judgment towards your now, and just let it be. And give it attention. My words are always guidance for you to be practicing this as I'm speaking. I'm not adding knowledge to your mind here. I'm attempting to point you to a state of presence, which is consciousness without thought. In between my words, I'm not thinking. I speak words and then I remain in silent stillness, inviting you to join me in that state. There's no thoughts in my mind unless I start speaking. I'm just here present with you, guiding you to join me in that state where you need no thought, no intellect, just presence. To feel the awareness, the formless awareness that thought knows nothing about. There's a deep peace, a deep joy residing there. An uncaused joy. Joy that passes all understanding, a peace that passes all understanding. So if stress, worry, anxiety comes into your life, you're probably too preoccupied with future. If low moods, shame, guilt come into your life, you're probably too preoccupied with past. Past and future become a bundle of thoughts in your mind, and you see that to be who you are. You see yourself as the little I, the thinker. But there is a transcendent I that observes the thinker. The formless awareness, the one life, the connecting source of all things. Observe the thinker, observe your thoughts neutrally, and feel yourself as the observer. Become present. Feel yourself into the present moment. Realize that nothing else exists. And you'll never not be here. End the struggle. End the fight. The deep truth of enlightenment is simply this. Enlightenment is merely a higher vibrational state that you can enter into. The ego is a lower vibrational state that you can enter into. There is no ego in you that you need to get rid of in order to become enlightened. That's a story that keeps you trapped. There is one vessel, one mode, one consciousness, and it's operating on different vibrations. Ego is a lower vibration which is kept alive through time, through resistance, through denial of the present moment. Enlightenment is just a higher vibration where you're surrendered into the present moment. You're allowing everything to be. You're ending the delusion of time. You're feeling the awareness that you are. Your vibration naturally raises to its normal state of enlightenment. Enlightenment is your natural state. So you need to stop asking, how do I become enlightened? A more helpful question is, how do I stop preventing myself from feeling my natural state of enlightenment? And you do that through letting go of resistance, letting go of the struggle, letting go of the fight, letting go of the trying to get to another future that doesn't exist, letting go of trying to understand and know about. Intellect can only take you so far. The true step you have to take, the step off the cliff, the jump, the leap of faith, is to give up attempting to understand and thus experiencing presence right here and right now. That's the way.